So, very warm welcome, because I'll say welcome because we're now coming from all parts of the world. So we're the morning, we're the night, all parts. So I'm going to place everyone just on hold, and so feel free at any time to jump out. Don't just sit there not participating, because we're in a very interesting time on planet Earth at the moment. There feels like people are polarized in two different areas. One is the narrative that's playing out in the world at the moment, with the virus as the threat, and very, very many people are in fear. In fact, I'm actually shocked how many people have been so compliant. Like, you do this, it is done. How many people are going into fear? And then you have the other group of people who feel this excitement, this internal excitement going on, that something is about to change. And I was speaking with a business person yesterday, and I said, you know, once you've had everybody at home, working from home for a month, 2 months, or whatever it is going to be, do you think that they're going to go and step back into work with the same thoughts? Like, if I can work from home and do my job effectively, why am I going back into the office? So collectively, it's going to shift people's thinking about what is normal and why am I actually always going into this workplace when I can work at home and have some freedom. So that will shift for sure. And then there is definitely a global reset. Definitely. You're going to see a shift from a debt system to an asset system. That is happening behind the scenes. You just have to listen to the narrative, and you certainly can hear that. So there is certainly from that point of view. And then I've had both sort of people contact that either like the video I sent out and resonate with them, or they've followed David Icke or David Wilcock, or they're doing their own research and really believe in that there is something unfolding for harmony. Or you're like, I'm not too sure where Donald Trump's my hero, and I really don't want to get into that. And it's interesting, I shared a little post on Messenger last night with a few of you, with a very knowledgeable man who has a lot of background. I won't go right into it, sharing about the fact that you can't catch a virus. And he really went into why you can't. Now, this morning I get a message from somebody, oh, he's been banned. So it's really interesting. Anybody that's speaking up and saying, actually, no, this is not true, and giving the evidence, is getting censored by YouTube, censored by Facebook, and censored by Google. So it's really, really interesting, because if it was just the same as all the other nonsense that's on social media, then why would you get rid of it? But they certainly don't want you to hear anything else than what's happening in the external world. And because of that, you know, I think if anybody tunes into the telly now, you're just part of, you know, part of this. You're part of the program. You're just part of the program of what they're telling you. And, you know, I'm not saying believe me or believe anyone else out there. You have to check into you, because even when we were started to look at this information that currently is out, because I've always had a belief there's something going on behind the scenes. So any of the stuff that I've shared with you recently is not new thinking for me. But I don't ask you to believe it. You just need to check in with your informative center, check in with your soul, and just say, is this true? You know, is this true? Is there elements of truth here? And that's really where you have to come back to, and where everybody's heading back to, you know, because at this time, people are now in their home and they are with themselves. And some people are really uncomfortable with being by themselves and their thoughts. And all of a sudden they're hearing the dialogue that's going on in their head, and it's spinning them out. It really is spinning them out. So I'd love to hear from your perspective, or anyone that's here, like, how are you going? What do you feel for you? What have you noticed? Donna's put here, one question I have is about sharing with others the PRK tool. It's a little challenging and do need guidance. So I gave the information to my mum. Could she access the replay? Not sure if she is even interested, but want to understand the right protocol. Yeah, thanks for that, Donna. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody on the planet has access to these consciousness devices of Grabovoi. And that's why I'm going again in the third time going through the device. Today we'll do a little bit more of a different concentration with the devices. But to let you know, for instance, Bev currently at the moment is holding on to the Australia PRK 1U. She's babysitting for it at the moment. It's on 24/7. And it's in third mode, so it's quite powerful. There's a sort of flashing light that you'll see from the live one. Ours has a crystal in it that amplifies it. It is a piece of artificial intelligence technology, a bit of AI, and so different to the Grabovoi device, which has the medical devices, which have a diamond inside of them, which is the same as Carola Saris, my colleague in Thailand. So don't worry, I'll go through the device so you get plenty of understanding on how to use it, and we're actually going to start using it on our body. But just in case you haven't seen this, perhaps you need to put this number code down. I don't know whether you use the round table that we use or any of your own concentrations with a sphere, but this is the number code series for mass panic. And really that is what is being whipped up in the collective at the moment, this absolute panic. Hence you see people, racing to the supermarket to purchase their toilet paper for I don't know what. Everybody's got a bad case of diarrhea. What? Why do we need toilet paper, for heaven's sake? Anyway, interesting talks and thoughts around that. So this is a really good one to use. I quite like sometimes just to write some of the number codes close to my skin, but you can be quite creative in how you want to use it. But really have this somewhere where you can just I'm not, not going to be buying into this. When we had Carola on the last couple of times, she was reminding everybody that really need to one, lift their consciousness up to the light stream, the speed of the light stream of the Creator. And secondly, to step out of the collective consciousness. And just a reminder, there is a sphere of the collective consciousness that sits in front of your solar plexus. And when you feel that you're getting into the thinking of the collective consciousness, which is basically we're all doomed, you need to say, I take my sphere of consciousness outside the sphere of the consciousness of the collective. Materialization in front of the backdrop of the Creator's soul. And the next part is, I take my sphere of consciousness into the sphere of favorable development of the Creator, materialization in front of the backdrop of the Creator's soul. And Maggie, you would have heard Nadezhda probably say that. That was something that she taught us when we were in Thailand with her. Some of the other things just about, this is one of Grabovoi's 5 medical devices we will be focusing on. You will notice that on each device, the lenses are positioned in a different location. So if I go back to the one in Australia, the lenses are different. So just be aware of that. How Grabovoi has programmed this device for us, for the Australia group, is that there are 8 people on this device. He had to look individually where their sphere of eternity was and also their birth date. And then based on that, then the device is programmed for us. And all we need to do is connect optically with that. And then Carola says if she's not near her device, she just sends a thread from her heart and connects to the device at any time and does that. And so because you're part of our collective, normally you can just certainly be part of that. But now you have access to Grabovoi's device, medical devices, so they're majorly enhanced, and he's released them before he had planned. You'll notice that not only are there 3 lenses, but there are additional 4 lenses here. And these allow everyone to be able to jump on and use the device. Between these 3 lenses is the matter of eternity. Now, you're not able to see that, but for all those who have been in with us in Melbourne here, and we've worked on the device, you can actually see, what would you call it, Bev? Like movement of energy. What would you say for you? Because your baby.
Almost like a mist. You know when you see a haze on the road when it's hot? It's like that. It's sort of that haze.
Yeah, or like heat coming from a heater.
Yes.
You sort of, you can see it moving. So this allows us to take a sphere of matter at any time and use it. And we will be doing that in our concentrations as well. The other important thing to remember is when we're going through the practice is to already have in your consciousness, so this is either by your thoughts or just imagining or sensing what sort of outcomes you want. How would you want to be? Not as if you're traveling to get there, but that they already exist in the present moment. So for instance, when we go into the control for rejuvenation, you need to decide when is the best for you as an age where you like yourself the most and you'd like to rejuvenate to. Let me just have a quick look. For example, here's 2 pictures of me. I neither decide whether I like to be a 5-year-old or here I am at 19. So for me, when I first saw, and the same I know for Bev, because she said the same, when we first asked my consciousness to take a time of myself when I felt really good, I saw this picture. Now, when I don't remember using my eyes about what I look like when I was 19, if I just think about what I look like and haven't looked at this picture after a while, what happens is it's almost like the picture becomes weak, as in like sort of faded and not clear like this. And from the point of view of using our consciousness, what we're doing is sending out a biosignal via waves, a standing wave of our consciousness. Now, when I look at the picture, I have a very clear, defined image of the age I want to be. However, if I take the picture away and just try to remember it, sometimes it, as I said, becomes very weak. Therefore, my biosignal then also is a little weak. All of the concentrations that we do, doesn't matter whether we're using a device or actually using some of Grabovoi's other controls, these are used to strengthen and entrain our consciousness so that that biosignal, that standing wave of consciousness becomes extremely strong, like I'm seeing this picture here. So when we go through doing rejuvenation, if you can't sort of see a picture in your mind, please go and look for a picture in the past and have it somewhere that's really close. So in my office, at the moment, it's very close. I can see it. And, you know, my eyes looking there all the time. So in my mind, I'm saying I'm 19. Now, for all of those that understand how the mind works, it doesn't, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and not real. And if, for those of you who remember back how we use the field of creating information, on every 25th frame per second, so every 25th standing wave of consciousness, we actually materialize into the physical world what we are focusing on. So for instance, within a minute, every second you're creating. So if your mind, for instance, you're looking at the narrative on the television in the media, you're also programming that into the information field. So this is why it's really important to step away from the dialogue that is being shepherded into the collective at the moment, and keeping them, pretty much in fear. So this is why this practice is really important. And likewise, when we go back in time, so, most of us think that time is a past and a present, but actually it's a construction that we create within our 5 meter sphere of where we create. And in fact, time, the past, the present are always flowing to us like a toroidal shape. This is why it's really important to go back and change the past and also harmonize the future. But when we go and look at the past, we clear it up. But when we go into the infinite future, so for instance, imagine ourselves 1,000,000 years into the future, if you can, what will be happening there? How do you see yourself? Do you see disharmony around you? If you see disharmony around you, you send a light impulse to that area and harmonize it. You need to see your future as if it is in the present. And not just that, you need to be able to feel. There's the connection, the feel. So it's okay for me to have a picture up there of me at 19, but I have to go internally and actually feel what it is like to be 19. And then that signals to my body that I'm a 19-year-old, and everything starts to restore for that. Seems a bit crazy, but absolutely true. I heard a very good statement last week, and it wasn't coming from Grabovoi, it was coming from someone else, talking about in the future when we've had this shift from the duality planet we live on of 3D into the 5D consciousness, that in fact old age will be just like another disease, not an inevitability, it's just a program. And sometimes it's really hard for people to get a concept of, wanting to be in a physical body. And I know I've spoken about this to most of you, but it's because you've not actually imagined what it could be like to be, we call it eternal, but some people would call it immortal, to be eternal, and with all the abilities we had. And that's what's happening at the moment. It's like a veil is being lifted from the haze we've been in, and you're starting to reveal some of your gifts. I have a girlfriend who lives in another state, and we were talking last night, and she said, what's really interesting, it feels like the veil is lifting, and all of a sudden I have this knowing about things. Like, I know that this is right. I can sense when somebody tells me whether this is something harmonious. And this is my girlfriend Aurora. Aurora and I will be on Facebook Live tomorrow talking about leadership. So if anybody wants to have a look at that, we'll be having our talk tomorrow. But so this is what's happening. We're entering into our power that we haven't realized. We're entering into who we truly are. And, there's a line that Professor Leslie, or a couple of sentences that Professor Leslie, our colleague in Kuala Lumpur, says, that he gets most of his patients to say, who have really no understanding like you guys have. He says, I know who I am. I know what I am. I know how to serve, and I'm free to be me. And I think that's really my mantra at the moment, to know who you are, know all of you, and not just the good bits, but, the bad bits as well, that you think are bad. So that's to know yourself and all that. Like, for instance, I can get really resentful and cross. I can snap. And I've shared with all of you before that I'm pretty controlling, but it has a benefit as a positive. So that's getting to know all aspects of you. Just to see yourself as this wonderful spiritual being with a halo around your head and the wings flapping on the outside is just a lopsided perception of you, okay? So I know I know what I am. I know I am a soul having a physical experience. And for those of you who feel that, then you will have had two things playing out in your head at the moment. It's the 3D narrative, and it's like you feel like you're not living in that world. It's like you're watching a television program and it's running on. And so there's a real shift about where we're actually separating our consciousness right from the 3D. So you feel like your foot is in both worlds. I know how to serve. I know how to serve, how I can be of service. And all of you have your own way of being service. It doesn't mean that you have to run webinars or run massive groups. It can just be simple things like, I know Michelle is really into animals and nature. So yeah, for her, looking after nature and animals is extremely important. That is her being of service. So yeah, we all have our way of being in service. And then when you have all those three lined up, you're really free to be you, all of you. That spiritual aspect, that physical aspect that is grounded on the planet. Because all this 5D talk, ascension talk, is not, you're not going to another planet, people. You're bringing more of your soul into your physical body to be grounded on heaven on earth. That's where we're heading, to a new way of thinking, and heaven being here. Just look how quickly Mother Earth is responding to us shutting down, and it's restoring really quickly. So interesting, the narrative in the outside world. I wonder if they'll still be talking about climate change and how we're having global warming. Maybe not, because Mother Earth is restoring very quickly. I'm sure most of you would have seen Venice. All their waterways are now beautiful and clear, and there are fish coming back, all because people are not trawling up in their boats, and it's able to restore. So Mother Nature knows that. Now, many of you will maybe feel like I have at the moment, is that I need to be out in nature all the time. So at the moment, except for this current moment when I'm in my office, I've been working out in the garden, not just doing gardening, but I've taken my computer and I'm actually out there. I don't want to be in the house at all. I feel like I need to be immersed in nature, and I'm lucky because I have a lot of trees and a lovely garden to hang out in. But it's feeling really important. And the other thing is to actually sitting on the earth and really connecting to the crystalline grid. What was the second one, Eileen, is I know who I am. I know what I am. I know how to serve. I'm free to be me. Good, thank you. So it's really important to ground, because if in a lot of spiritual development, many people are ungrounded. That's the issue. And you cannot manifest what you want into physicality unless you are grounded, not just to Mother Earth, but also in all your chakras, especially your lower chakras. Okay, all good. Right, now, we're going to go through some of the controls that we're going to do today on the 3 devices. Let me go through. I'll make sure that you all have a copy of that for those who haven't seen this. So this is the standard 4 controls that you use when you go through using one of the PRKU devices, except this time when we go through it, you'll notice that each of the devices have been allocated to a specific topic. So I will go through that with you. So let's have a look here first. Development of concentrations of eternal life for rejuvenation. So you can see why it's important to have that image in your head. You can perform concentrations for your own rejuvenation, after that for rejuvenation of other people. If you think that you are young as it is and thus do not need yet to work on rejuvenation, then you need to practice this concentration for training. Then in the future, when you do want to rejuvenate yourself, you will already know how to do it. When performing this concentration, you can visualize yourself at the desired age. And in the course of concentration, feel it to the point that you really perceive yourself as being that age. Even young people need to practice this concentration for the future so that one could rejuvenate himself at any time. And that means we should start learning when we're young. In this concentration, you need to focus your attention on the spine. Just see one little chat here. Okay, so on your spine, and close to the spinal column, you visualize the numbers 9, 4, 8. So you just see that the numbers, it might be that they run in a vertical line, or you just might see them in a horizontal line. In this
that says 498.
Sorry, 498. Thank you, Pearl. 498. In this manner, you need to rejuvenate yourself using the glow of these numbers. In other words, the light from the numbers goes to and into the spine, and through the spine, you need to rejuvenate yourself fully. The matter of eternal life, so in between the lenses, generated by the device, comes out from the space between the lenses. It is emitted from the space between the lenses. You need to bring the matter of eternal life into your spinal column at the coccyx area, so that the matter of eternal life travels up, reaching your brain, and simultaneously other quantity of the matter comes from the small lens, entering through the right and left eye to join the matter coming from the coccyx. So it's as if you're creating a circuit, an electrical circuit. Now, one of the things Carola said in the group the other day was, when we were born with the sphere of eternity. If you can imagine a baby sitting on the ground and their bottom is now really nice plumped on the ground, just above that little bottom is 2 little dimples, sort of at the very lower back where the coccyx is. And between one, on the left side represented infinity, the right dimple eternity, and between there is the sphere of eternity. So everybody has a sphere of eternity. Over time, the sphere of eternity can locate in another position in or around your physical body, generally inside somewhere. And in the last couple of groups that we've talked about, we've gone through this, we've asked people while we're doing the control to locate where that sphere is for them, because it is different. Hence, when we had our session with Grabovoi, he was looking clairvoyantly where each person's sphere of eternity was and how developed it was. So you need to bring the matter of eternal life from the center space between the lenses straight into the brain, and from there into the bone marrow of the limbs, and through the bone marrow into each cell of the body. The second concentration is the development of eternal life concentration with respect to all events. So first you need to concentrate on a localized spot or region of your body for normalization. Then the same concentration can be done for other regions. After that, you can concentrate on any event. So in this concentration, you need to transfer an element of your consciousness to the infinite future. And from this infinite future, to see that the events that you have planned have been realized. So it's like setting an objective, a goal, that they've already happened. For example, you look at the past from the present moment, and there the desired events happened the way you wanted them to happen. The same here. you look from the future to the past, which is the present. So you're bilocated in the future, looking back into the present, but it is the past in relationship to the future. Or if we take a more distant future, then it's also both the future and at the same time the past in relation to the next future. So a little confusing there. Therefore, you need to look kind of back, to look back from the infinite future and see what your intended events have translated into. So a more global look at that would be you living in harmony with the people, checking that everybody around you and the events are in harmony. Next is the development of eternal life concentration for development of clairvoyance. So first you need to apply the control of clairvoyance to see in the current time the room or the place you left or visited a few hours ago. And after that, you can apply the control for clairvoyance for events. It is advisable that you set the aim of the control you really want to achieve. So the recommendation is, while viewing events in the course of this concentration on the control of clairvoyance, you can correct, improve the events at the same time. So you're seeing events, as I said, and if they are not in harmony, you're seeing the events that are not in harmony from your clairvoyance, you send a light impulse and harmonize the events. So as a control of clairvoyance differs from ordinary clairvoyance in that the control of clairvoyance, when applied for event viewing at the same time, corrects and improves, if needed, the events to ensure eternal life. So just basically saying that you're looking for your clairvoyance at events in the future and around you in the present. If they're not in harmony, then you need to harmonize them. Just unless somebody's got a question, so I'll just go up for a sec. Very Russian, yes, very Russian English. I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. The next concentration is developing of eternal life concentration for control of forecasting. The control of forecasting concentration should as well include the following aim of control: with the help of the device to assist your consciousness and spirit so that eventually you can do without the device, using your own developed spirit and consciousness. And in this concentration, you need to view your infinite future, eternal future, and see in the eternal future, let's say 1,000,000 years from now, basically in any point of the infinite future, see concretely some of the events that concern you. See what exactly you are doing there. And furthermore, from the current time, you need to examine your cellular composition, so your body cells, the function of the body, to examine and make sure that all this is norm in the infinite future. It is better to create the norm right off in the current time. So really having a look at that. So just to reiterate, you cannot be eternal 1,000,000 years in the future in a physical body if you haven't rejuvenated yourself. And that's why one of the first things that you do in the concentration is focus on your own rejuvenation. Now I'm going to make it really easy when we actually go through using the device. I'll just remind you the 4 topics. We won't spend hours and hours on the device, just a short amount of time. But no, once you have under your belt basically the 4 topics and then the topic of the device, you have a choice. You can either go through these 4 different areas, or you might just simply focus on the device and the topic of that particular device. So, any questions before we move on? Or you've all been swamped with the Russian translation to English? So, Donna, is the point of the device to help us amplify? Yeah, good question. So basically the point of the device, let me go back to the image of you in a youthful, rejuvenated state at your ideal age. I've shown on some of the webinars in the last month, and especially on retreat, everybody thinks that they are laser focused when they're doing a concentration. And there was a good exercise when we were in Thailand recently. I gave them the task to focus for 2 minutes. Now, just at the time while they were focusing, there was a whippersnipper in the garden, there was a dog barking, and some music was on. Some music turned on. So I got some feedback from the group as to how they were through the 2 minutes. And they were, yeah, all good. And I said, who heard the whippersnipper? Everybody's hand went up. Who heard the dog barking? Everybody's hand went up. Who heard the music turn on? Everybody's hand went up. I said, right, then your 2 minutes of being laser focused was disrupted because your consciousness went to what you heard. And so your laser focus that you sort of thought you had was getting chopped along the way by things you were hearing. When you're in a laser focus, you don't hear any of that. You're so immersed in that. And I can tell you, it's absolutely normal to be distracted by things. That's where we all are. Our thoughts distract us constantly. Absolutely. And so this device is there to help us focus and entrain our consciousness to not have those distortions affecting the biosignal we're sending out, our standing way of consciousness. And so when we connect optically to the small lens, we start showing the device the way that we concentrate. So you're showing the device how you structure your consciousness. And then once the device has seen how you structure your consciousness, it now then structures your consciousness in a new way. So it like clears the clutter away so that you're able to have a more lasered focus, so that you're able to see or sense things in the future in harmony. And you get to a point where you don't need the device. In fact, none of you need the device. It's just that it's become available because it was really clear 4 years ago that where man's consciousness was heading. And hello, here we are in the 1st of April in Australia, but 31st of March in the US, where people's consciousness is not quite where we would have hoped it to be at this period of time. In fact, I'm not sure about you. I'm actually shocked that there are so many people still asleep. It's actually quite sad, really. Okay, so let's get on to the device. Any more questions? Yes, another good question. I hope that answered it, Donna. No. In terms of the 25 standing waves for manifestation, say I'm watching a murder mystery, but my vibration is more about the enjoyment of the character and I feel harmonized. Would you manifestation be more about the feeling, the vibration, than the visual content? It's what you're making, I think, Donna, of what you see. So if you're more, you're visualizing, but you're not in the character visualizing it in your life. You're just observing it with your eyes. It's more when you are seeing something and making it feel like it's part of you. So for instance, and it's a really good question, have a look at what's happening in the dialogue in the external world. So everybody feels and hears that I'm going to get the CV virus, and I don't even give it a name, because when I give it a name and I have a feeling around it, then I'm also creating that. And from an information structure, the collective consciousness is holding the CV virus in the consciousness for everyone. So anyone that's got an iota of common sense and is a researcher like me will go and have a look at the numbers of people who died from the flu last year. And remember, this virus, even though manufactured and has a patent, still is the common cold. If you research it, there are less people dying. And then if you research it more, then you'll understand that there is a link between 5G and this virus. So you look, I had somebody send me the Google map of Italy. You'll be surprised how many 5G devices are turned on in Italy, all over Italy. And yet Italy's got the highest amount of people that are dying. You look where 5G is on in the world, and then you look at overlay it on the map of where they say everybody is really got this virus. Well, the virus is, because it's man-made, gets intensified by 5G. Anyway, that's right off the track. But anyway, what I'm saying is, when you have a feeling and as if it's real for you, then you are creating it in your physical reality. If you're just observing it and getting some enjoyment out of it, Donna, then no, you're not bringing it into your field as such. Hope that answers that. Hope that answers that for you. All right, let's come back to here and let's go to the device. Okay. So the first device I'm going to turn on, and just to know that when you get the link for this, so the link is up here, med.grabovoi.tech. So that's the link. I will send it in the replay. That you also have another 2 buttons together, one to go live and the other one is for more information. I suggest, even though we've gone through it, is to go through and just read the information. It's not long, but just to get it into your mind. So we're going live now. And the way that you can tell you're live is because you can see this light flashing here. Just might see something flash here. That shows you that you have a live link. Now let's explain about this device. Here on the right-hand side at the bottom is a smaller lens. When we connect to the device, we connect to the middle of the lens here. And we move our perception in a counterclockwise direction. So from this lens to this lens to this lens to this lens. Now, you're not rolling your eyes around in your head. That's not what's happening. It's almost like you're zoomed out and have this vision of all 3 lenses. However, your optical connection is to the first lens, and the perception is that you're going like a spiral in a counterclockwise direction. So that's your perception. If you start off slowly, you can do that to get a bit of an idea. So that's how we're moving with all these devices, even though you'll see that the smaller lens may be located differently on each of the devices. Secondly, you will see that there are number code series along here, and this represents, for example, when we're using a number code. And let me go back to, let me see where my slide is, just for here. And I shall write this down so that we have a copy. So for instance, if I'm using this number code 18931431961, let's see how we would use that if we were using the device. Okay, so if I'm using the device, my first number, starting on the small lens, I would go counterclockwise 1, and I would see that number 1 in that lens. The next one is 8, so keep going to 8, and then I would put that 8 in that lens. Up to 9, 9 is in the lens, counterclockwise again, 3, 1, counterclockwise again, 4, then around again to 3, 1, 9, 6, and then 1. So you're seeing each time the number, or sensing the number, in the middle of the lens. And that's the focus. And then in here, in between all those lenses, is the matter of eternity. When we do the control, if I don't remember to say it in the control, please take from the center a sphere of the matter of eternity and place it into your physical body. If you're not too sure where to place it into your solar plexus. That's one way to place it. Or you might want to put it into your pituitary system. Wherever you feel like you need to place it, you can do that. So if I haven't prompted you, please take your own sphere. Any questions before we actually start? Any questions? Okay, we're going to start with the very first concentration. Sorry. Which is our method for rejuvenation. So we'll go through a full control. What you need to do though first is have in your mind's eye, and maybe you ask your soul or your consciousness to show you an image of yourself where you felt the most love of yourself, where you felt happy, where you felt carefree like a child, so good about yourself, happy in your life. And it was interesting because Bev and I both started off where we wanted to be 18. And then when we asked this question, both of us got an image of ourselves at 19. Okay, that's good. And I thought about 19, and I looked back at that picture of me lined up, and I remember at that time I was working with 100 girls. And in fact, I was part of a group of girls that were being picked to go on the Easter float in Melbourne and around Victoria. And I got picked as I was being dressed up as a big butterfly, and I got picked as the lead butterfly at the front of the float. So you can imagine my image of that. It's bringing back some really good moments for me. So that's how you start to bring it in your consciousness and have the feelings, and then you are that. All right, so when we do this, so you visualize yourself at the desired age, and also you're going to then visualize as close to your spinal column the number 498. And then by doing that, you set your objective for rejuvenation of your physical body, no aging, or whatever the words you want to use for you. And then what we're going to do from is then, where are we? Come from the matter of, so from the matter of eternal life generated by us comes from the space, it emits from the space between lenses. You need to bring the matter of eternal life into your spinal column. So in the coccyx area, so the matter of eternal life travels up, reaching your brain, and simultaneously comes from the small lens into the left. I might just talk you through that. Actually, it makes it a little bit easier so you can just focus. I'll read it, and then you can just focus on what you need to. Any questions? All good? All right. So let's get into a nice, relaxed, comfortable position. Forget all the Russian to English. Thinking about it now, we're just using our consciousness. So bring yourself back to yourself, and a nice way to do that is just to connect with your heart. And sometimes the best way to do that is just simply touch your heart, and it brings your physical awareness to your heart. You don't need to keep your hand there, but just touch it first. And while you're touching it, just take some deep breaths. These breaths that you fill your chest right up, filling your whole chest, and then releasing it deeply. And by doing this, you signal to your body that all is calm and everything is safe. The most sacred thing you can do is bring breath into your body. It's the first thing we do when we're born, and in the past, when people have decided to leave their body, it's the last thing that we've done. So bring that sacred breath into the body, and the body then starts to relax. I'm in spirit. I see and act as the Creator sees and acts. Rescue and harmonious development. for the planet and all of humanity, and the prevention of possible global catastrophes. So you state your objective: my rejuvenation of my physical body, erasing all programs of aging. So imagine your physical body now, in your consciousness, what you would look like when you are rejuvenated at the most ideal age. Now connect it with a feeling. How would it be feeling? And you do that by running the image like a movie of yourself. Now, once you've done that, connect optically, so connect with your eyes to this small lens here. And just in your perception, run your eyes counterclockwise. So you start to get used to sort of this spiral in your perception. And at the same time, being aware of how you feel and if you sense or see yourself as a young age. Now, as you're spiraling around the device, and you can see yourself at a young age, focus your attention on the spine. And as close to the spinal column, visualize the numbers 4, 9, and 8. 4, 9, 8. And notice that these numbers are glowing. And see them going, the light of these numbers going into your spine. And in doing so, the light of the numbers are rejuvenating yourself fully. Keep your eyes in the perception of the lenses, small. While you're focusing on that numbers, on those numbers going into your spine, the light of them going into your spine, I want you to be aware of what you're feeling in your physical body or maybe around it. What are you noticing? So from the middle of the device, there is the matter of eternal life generated, right from the middle of the spaces. So now take a sphere of the matter of eternal life and place it into the coccyx region of your spine, so that the matter of eternal life travels up, reaching your brain. And at the same time, simultaneously, other qualities of matter come from the small lens. And they actually enter through the right and left eye. And they join the matter in your coccyx. So you almost got an inverted or upside down triangle. You're closing a circuit. Just be aware of what you're feeling in or around your physical body. So it's going into, from the bottom of your coccyx into your brain, and from there into the bone marrow of the limbs, and from the bone marrow into every cell of your body. On the level of thought, we've implanted all that information, so don't try to remember it all. Your consciousness knows exactly what is happening. Now just keep your focus on the small lens in your perception, counterclockwise, but feel and sense what's happening in your physical body. Notice if there's any images or a feeling. We send a light impulse from our soul and a light impulse from the Creator's soul and fix the result now and for all times. We just did a fairly short concentration, minimum usually about 2 minutes, but you can spend as long as you like on doing that as well. So I just want to open up and see what feedback you have, because Corolla was reminding us the other day that Grabovoi likes the feedback. He wants to hear the feedback. So some people have already started giving me some feedback about what they actually felt. So please just jump out, and otherwise I can pick on you. But if you'd like to volunteer some of the things, it really helps the group when you share. Anybody want to share something that went on for them?
I will, Marion.
Thanks, Eileen.
I had some vibration within my head, and when we first did the numbers, there was a block again between my shoulders, and it cleared that. So then, when the sphere of eternity, it just flowed right through. But for me, the part that there was lots of things, but the important thing for me was I had a belief, and it was thought to be positive, but it was limiting and restricting.
Yep.
So I have eradicated that. I can't remember what it was, but I know that doesn't matter. But I know I have eradicated it and placed it with a more positive spoken one, if that makes sense.
Yep, I get it. And so is this your second or third time when we've been in the group? How is it different to the other practices that you've noticed when we were using the device? Do you notice anything different this time?
Yeah, this time I'm really this is the third time I've been on, and this time I'm really absorbing and getting into the concentration more.
Nice, good. Thanks so much.
On a more concentrated, deeper level.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing, Eileen. Great. Anybody else want to jump off and share what's going on for them? Anyone else? Come on. Elsa might have.
I can do that.
Yes, Bev.
I can do that. My internet is unstable at the moment, so I've got my video off. Still lots of yawning. I'm not sure why. And you know, when you look at a picture and you see a three, you know, when you sort of see a picture that is not there, but then you suddenly go, oh, there's whales there. So,
yeah.
you know, So when I'm looking at that lens, I see actually a bicycle. Because there's two wheels down there, and the so I see a bicycle.
I get it. I can see that. Did you feel anything in your body? Because this is your third time too.
Yes. My bottom was tingling.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Who else would like to jump out and share? Anybody else?
Can I jump out and share, Marion?
Yeah, sure, Michelle, go.
I felt like it was like a cooling sensation.
Yep.
Like a vibration that was like, yeah, just like really cooling.
Yes.
Throughout, especially my spine. But then it went down and into my hip, and I actually felt the pain like moving like through my hip and out of it.
Nice.
And it was like my cells, I actually felt like my cells were celebrating. It was like going, oh, it's about time, like this joy.
Nice. Good.
I don't know if anyone else got that.
Yeah, it's surprising what people have actually been feeling, and that's what you are. It's like your cells are rejoicing because they've had this program that your cells have been listening to your conscious thoughts and your beliefs, and all of a sudden you're giving them new information. So I totally get that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks.
Pleasure. Anybody else want to jump out? All the US people are usually here, very silent. Very silent. Come on, guys.
Okay.
Come on, Maggie.
I will talk.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Jean.
Jean, sorry.
No, that's fine. I have a fair amount of pain every day.
Yep.
And some days are worse than others, but after going through that, it felt like my body was starting to relax a little bit and release some of the pain. So my back is feeling a little bit better.
Nice.
Which a little bit is a big deal to me.
Absolutely.
So that's nice.
Good. Thank you very much. Thanks for that, Jane. Anyone else?
Marion, this is Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
I know I need to sit on a different seat because I realized that I was just physically uncomfortable, so it was a little harder to concentrate.
Yep.
And it felt like there was a lot to remember. But I did feel like I got into it a bit. And one thing I noticed was that previously when you had mentioned like have a photograph, I was really focused on what did I look like then. And today I got into how did it feel when I was that age? How did my body feel? My body I weighed less, so I felt lighter. I had a good diet that I just felt cleaner inside, and I was happier. And so all of that was coming up, which was really nice. I felt more connected to that than I had previously. And at one point there was some tingling at the top of my head. And also it felt like my feet were not quite touching the floor.
Nice.
Like they were slightly above the floor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Let's jump on and go right to the bottom device, and this is the development of concentration, which realizes events that provide for eternal life for all. So in this concentration, you need to go to a time in the future. So you're moving from the present into the future, looking back into the present, where you feel, young and rejuvenated. And look at the situations and the events around you to make sure that all the people around you are also experiencing eternal life. If you notice that there is an event or somebody around you, even if you don't get a clear visual of a person, or you just get a sense there's people or whatever that are not in harmony, from the area of your heart, project into them a silver white sphere of eternity. A silvery sphere from your soul, not sphere, light I meant to say, and then followed by a gold impulse of light. And by doing that, you harmonize the information. Then notice that everything is harmonized from you. Then come back into the present and then project what you would like to happen in the future, and notice that all are in harmony. Is that clear? I'll run you through it while we're doing it. It's the same thing. We're focusing here on the small lens and going counterclockwise. This will be a little bit easier. Our objective is eternal harmonious life for all. Good. So from the moment of now, project yourself into the infinite future and arrive at a time, it could be 1,000,000 years in the future, when you look down at your feet, notice what you may be wearing. Notice how it feels to be you. Infinite, rejuvenated, and living in eternal life. And while you are looking at that time in the infinite future, look around you. Look around you at the events and the people. Are they in harmony? And if they are not in harmony, send a silvery white light from your soul to them and harmonize the information to restore eternal life for them. If there are events that are not in harmony, send a gold light of the Creator to harmonize those events. Your focus is still on the lens. You're counterclockwise. The same time you're sensing and seeing in your consciousness. You can get creative. You might take a sphere of eternity, place it into your or over your physical body and project it to all the events and the people around you. While you're doing it, just be aware how you feel in or around your physical body. Send a light impulse from my soul and a light impulse from the Creator's soul and fix the result now and for all times. 8898. Thank you. Anybody notice anything? I had this when I was looking at that, I had such a feeling of like absolute deep love just going on. Bev, Okay, anybody notice anything? Want to jump out?
This is Jean.
Hi, Jean.
The first thing I noticed was when you said, look down, see what you're wearing. All I could see was golden light.
Nice.
And realized that my body was glowing. If I had a body, I was glowing. And so was everyone else.
Nice.
It just, when I looked up, everybody around me was glowing. And I felt completely weightless, and just very free. And the other thing that I noticed, which is really a big deal to me right now in my life right now, is that I have had trouble breathing since 2008, when I had a very serious case of viral pneumonia and they almost lost me. And I lost the use of part of one of my lungs. And when this was going on, all of a sudden I realized I'm breathing so deep and so easily, and it's just my lungs are filling way up, and I haven't breathed like that in a really long time.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. Well,
That's really something for me.
yeah, I'm getting a beautiful tingling right over my body as you were talking about all that, and that always signals to me that's very true. My soul's.
It feels like there's a weight off my chest almost. It's been such a struggle and such a fear for me.
Yeah.
That my lungs were not healthy. And now all of a sudden I've got this really deep breathing going on, and whoa. That's really great.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. Anybody, thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody else? Anybody else want to jump out? You're very quiet today, Pearl. Go on. Yes.
Okay. What I was gonna say, when we did the first one, and I went back to a picture of myself at a certain age, and I was 23, and I was finishing training to be a soldier.
Yeah.
And I probably was the best fit level of my entire life, and I could run and jump and play and throw hand grenades, and was an expert marksman. And it started making me feel really like, whoa, what is this? Because currently I've had, kind of mobility issues. And then when we got to this one with, looking at the eternal life, I pictured moving from, being this fit, trim, lightweight soldier to, oh, this is who I've always been. This is who I'll always be. This is the way that I've developed this body to be that way. And so it was a pleasure to see that so far away from present that my mind almost couldn't go there, and it wanted to make me, like close my eyes or fall asleep or something. And I kept slapping myself to wake back up, like, no, this is it. This is you. This is ready, set, go. So it was kind of a waking dream or vision or something.
No, that's
good. I liked it.
And that's a good reminder, because somebody else in the last couple of groups we've had said they felt extremely tired while we were doing the concentrations on the device. And it's interesting, I've only probably had it a couple of times in a seminar where somebody has fallen asleep while we do controls, and the moment we finish doing controls, they awaken. And it's all, what Carola explained the other day to the group was there are some areas of our consciousness that actually still need to be awakened it's like what we're doing is very strong for our consciousness, that we actually want to not be there. And so what you're doing is then in training the device to actually understand that there's a new reality happening, and that you're removing any information that would cause you to shut down and be tired and zone out. So
well,
good.
I was thinking it might have been a little bit like, and so this sounds different than that explanation of it, is that I feel like maybe spirit is putting me down so it can do stuff I don't recognize or wouldn't be compatible with in the moment, so that I can move past it.
Look,
That would be a reason.
that can be a reality too. I'm not saying it isn't. I mean, you just check in with yourself. But you know that, because a lot of people are also experiencing at this times when they feel fatigued. I know Eileen and Bev and I have been feeling a lot in our physical body, to the point that we can't actually walk. You know, all down the left side. Bev had her back go out, a lot of lower back stuff and going on. So especially as the Schumann resonance has been quite high, up around 50 and beyond, and then back down. So it's been oscillating, of course, and more gamma light is coming. Of course, our body is getting cleansed and information is being removed, and we're getting now we are definitely getting time to stop, re-energize, just come back to ourselves. So there is a blessing there. All right. Thank you. Let's move on to the other devices. Better turn this one off and jump on to the topics of the other ones. Okay, so this one is to do with HIV. Technically, we can't say this cure, because of the FDA or the TGA in Australia, because they don't want us to know that we can cure ourselves. Even though this device is for HIV, we all at some level have an immune system that is not as strong as it could be. So the focus of this would be to restoration of my immune system to the Creator's norm. So I'm making it really simple now. Same thing from the small lens, counterclockwise, focusing. You may want to take a sphere of living matter, a sphere of eternal matter, and place it, for instance, into the third cervical vertebra of your vertebra that is just behind your neck, that's responsible for your immune system. So I'll talk you through that, and then just be aware of what is happening in your body. So this is just a pure focus on your body at this time, and the removal of any information that your immune system is not to the Creator's norm. Okay, all good to go? Great. So connect to this small lens, and counterclockwise in your consciousness, just reiterate your objective, so that the device is seeing on the level of thought what your objective is. So while you are spiraling counterclockwise, take a sphere of living, of eternal matter, and place it into your third cervical vertebra for the restoration of your immune system to the Creator's norm. Now, while you're focusing on the lenses counterclockwise, be aware of what you may be feeling in or around your physical body. And we fix the result with the light of our soul and the light of the Creator, now and for all time. 8898. Okay, what did you notice? What did you feel in your physical body? Anybody want to jump out? I felt a lot going on my digestive system, actually, right down in like around the sacral area. Yeah, Pearl, go ahead.
So probably having to do with being a soldier. There was some point where it just went from my shoulders down through my arms, and it felt like, or I thought of, remember how Popeye used to eat his can of spinach and then his arms would go big, 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 so he was really strong. It felt like, oh my gosh, look what happened to my, so I felt this thing move through my arms. It was very cool.
Very nice. Cool. Absolutely. Anybody else notice anything?
Marion, I noticed again a lot of like a vibration or a frequency behind my right ear.
Nice. Yep.
And then, like you, I went to my digestive system down in that area. Yeah.
Nice.
It felt quite, yeah, it did.
Good. Thank you. Anyone else want to jump out before we move on?
Marion, this is Aviva here.
Hi, Aviva.
Hi. I just wanted to say that when I was doing it, there was a shadow of the thymus gland in the front, which is also an immune body that shrinks as we age. And it just started to plump up and shadow. And I have systemic lupus, so I have the opposite of HIV, an overactive immune system. So I just thought perfection.
Yep.
On both ends of the scale, just a perfect immune system.
Yep.
Like those of children. So I just let the killer T cells be happy, and melatonin be happy, and cortisol be happy, and everything be happy, so that perfection on all the cells, and everything's plumped and bright and full of light.
Beautiful. So when you say, Aviva, restore my immune system to the Creator's norm, then norm is without any deficiency. So beautiful. That's great. Very good. All right, because we're getting close to time, let's move on to the next one. The next one is for the protection and cure of cancer. Everybody has cancer cells in their physical body. So that's quite normal. So once again, our objective would be for the protection and cure of cancer in my physical body, restoring to the Creator's norm. So focus on the small lens and then counterclockwise. And then just be aware of how you feel. Take a sphere of eternal matter and use that in your physical body. Just be aware of where it goes. And send a light impulse and fix the result now for all times. 741 741 741 for fast manifestation. Fixing it 8898. Anyone notice anything while doing this, using this device? Anybody have any reaction in their body at all or notice anything? All good?
Oh, hi, this is Donna, and in this one concentration, it was more about my second chakra.
Yeah.
That, you know, the organs around there.
Nice.
And yeah, so I don't know.
Did you have any physical sensations at all, Donna?
Yeah, more like compression in that area. Where I've noticed in my life that's how I feel when I have anxiety.
Okay.
So like I felt that in my body more than in the other concentrations.
Okay, good. Because also you can, while you're there, especially if you're having this reaction, remember you can always deform. So you compress the information structure that causes your body to feel anxiety, and then take it outside your 5 meter sphere into the silver cube of the creator for further development. So basically you're erasing the information. So have a play with it, but just remember this when you're doing that, just to keep spiraling. It's actually as if you're unwinding the information that has been distorted in your biofield, in your information field.
Great, thanks for explaining it like that.
That's all right, pleasure. Anybody else notice anything? All good?
This is Aviva again.
Yeah, Aviva.
In the month of February, I had breast cancer surgery, and this was applicable so that it restored my breast to the hole taken out, replacing it with pink tissue, pink perky, beautiful breasts again. And so it was I could feel the heat of that, and could see the pink and feel the perk.
Nice, good. So you probably already know, if you haven't, one of our students, Yelena, regrew her surgically removed ovaries, and that is medically documented from taking out to having 3 different tests that it was restored. When she was doing her concentration, and this was just by herself without an enhanced device, she would focus for about minimum of 15 minutes each day, and she'd actually see the cells multiplying. Like if her, for instance, her ovaries were in a matrix, she would, like if you're using the device for this, you'd take a sphere of eternal matter and place it into the point of creation of the breast tissue for your breast, and then you would just notice in your consciousness as it started to expand, as you know, cells divide and the tissue growing. What she felt when she was doing her uterus is that actually she could see in her mind's eye that the uterus was growing, and she could feel in her physical body. And she went through that process without a device for 3 months, and then she just had a knowing, it's done. And that's when she went and had a scan. Not that she said she'd grown her breast tissue back or anything. Her uterus, her ovaries back. But she just said, I think there's an issue. And they checked, no issue at all. So while you have access, and I'm not too sure how long, I would certainly just focus on, regrowing that breast tissue, seeing it happen, and using the matter of eternity to actually helping to bring it into the area and restoring it.
Thank you.
That's a pleasure. That's good. The last one we're going to do, and we're going to do it in 2 ways, in a macro way. This is the information structure of CV virus that was identified in China, and the function to cure this dis-ease, and the disease is mainly in the collective. I want us to do more of a macro control. If you feel that you have any symptoms of a flu type going on for you, certainly jump on afterwards and spend a lot of time. But now I want to sort of go as if you're going out into space and looking at planet Earth, and you're viewing the information structure about CV. And so first of all, I just want you to have a look at that as a structure, and I want you then, we're going to go in and remove the information structure. So our conscious focus is erasing the information structure of CV out of the collective consciousness and restore the thinking to the creator's norm. So remove and erase all the information of CV and restoring health to the collective consciousness. Now just change. See how interesting when you get on a focus, sometimes your words change. Now in this case, please note the small sphere is to the left bottom, and so then we move from the left to this one on the right, to the left. Oh, actually, it's to this way, counterclockwise. So I'll just take you through that, and then we can jump out for some feedback. So now at the moment, take your consciousness way out. Could be into the future, it could be like you're moving into space, and view planet Earth. And ask to see the information structure of the CV virus that is affecting the consciousness of all humanity. And then with our clear objective, erasing all information about the CV virus out of the collective and restore the thinking and health to the creator's norm. So focus on the small lens and counterclockwise. Notice what you may be feeling in or around your physical body as you see this as a macro control. If you're seeing an image at all of the information structure coming off, like pulling a net off the earth, you might want to take a sphere of eternal matter and surround the earth with the sphere of eternal matter, and notice the interaction between the earth and eternal matter. And be aware of what you may be feeling in or around your physical body. Your focus is on the small lens at the same time and counterclockwise. And I fix the result now for all time, 8898 741 741 741. Okay, what did you notice during that? What did anybody notice anything at all? Do you want to say something, Maggie?
Yeah, I gotta say now something. So first of all, I have not worked with this device at all, mainly because I really don't have time. And you saw me, I ran upstairs, he woke up again. So, but now Chris is home, so you can go. But first time you put the first picture on, immediately this thing like activated all kinds of stuff. I'm like, whoa, slow down, buddy. Wait. However, so with this one right now, and that's why I wanted to share this. I could see the virus. But what I thought was very interesting was the other pictures I got for that and the information. So the virus, I saw it as, I don't know the English words, molecules, and as a mathematical
formula.
Yes. So, but which we all know is man-made, but this is the picture for me for that. So
yes,
it's like,
absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely.
I get this. So I get this picture, so it's man-made because it's this formula. What was interesting was that there were actually devices connected to this virus, which I thought it's very strange that I see this. And first I thought maybe because we work with a device right now, but it had nothing to do with this device. There are other devices, basically the opposite of this device. Not for the good, for the opposite. So, and the other information I got and saw, which I thought that was very interesting too, was that, so this devices and the way the virus kind of was created can reactivate it in the body. It felt like basically it's get reactivated. It can get, if you have it, it's not like you're immune, it's actually the opposite. It's like you have it. Not that that it is deadly for all of us. For some it is, but that's not the point. The point is kind of the control over your body, over humanity, over however you want to call it. And there's something else to it, which is that it leaves, so it programs something inside of you that leaves kind of a fear, and that makes the immune system go down. So basically what we have to do is, as you said in the beginning, we have to erase this fear. This fear has to be gone because it's like a new kind of virus who's connected to our psychological, however, because of this devices. I cannot explain everything I saw. It would take too much time. But so we have to get rid of the fear. We have to take care of our immune system, and we have to turn off those devices, basically. And if I would take it to each person, I would say, turn off the devices, your TV. Turn off this devices. If we don't have access to satellites or whatever is connected to that. So, okay, that was a short version.
No, good. Made sense. Interesting. When I was doing that, I saw almost like the web dissolving when I was erasing it, because it was like a web around there. So definitely the web of fear, also the web of activation for me, and then just almost placing a sphere of eternal matter was like a shield against any devices that were like, it's almost like a laser was coming but bouncing off sort of thing.
Yes. So the sphere, which was for me, that was very strange when you said to take one of the sphere. I did it, but it went automatically to this virus and the formula and the whole thing. And so the virus was sitting inside that sphere. And I'm like, why is it in there? But it's the same as you said. That's the protection.
Yeah.
That's like the quarantine, how you call it, what we are all in right now.
Quarantine, yep, absolutely.
So this is what the sphere is doing. And maybe this is helpful for people to keep thinking that, put the virus in this quarantine of the sphere of eternity.
Yeah, because what will happen is the information will, because the information of eternal matter is so high that it will affect the formula or the virus or whatever, and it will be restored. It can't stay the same. It's like a higher vibration. Anybody that's not in a higher vibration you know, the example would be, you know, falls asleep,
Yes.
is in disease. So it can't exist in its current form. And even by putting the virus in a sphere, you are changing the information structure of it. So it
that's what happened. Like it started to change within, because it was not getting this outside thing from the devices.
Brilliant. Yeah, great. Thank you for the feedback. So one more before we jump off. Anybody else wanted to comment on anything that they saw?
This is Aviva again.
Yes, Aviva.
Yes, I got it that the coronavirus is just a scapegoat that using viruses, but it's just a diversion, that it's actually a grid that's quite dirty right now that we all participate in, and that the restoring to what it was before this was this crystal diamond rainbow plasma grid, and to restore it to its original grid, and that we're looking at the noun instead of the verb, and it's the verb that we have to bring back to its original, and it's this grid of energy and connection that we all have, that our souls all connect to.
Yes, absolutely. No, thank you for that feedback. Great. All right. Now, just before I go, I will be sending out the replay. In the replay, I will put the information on the 4th of the 4th of the 4th, which is in this Saturday or Friday for you guys in the US. There is a global call out for everyone to connect, not just from the E=VS or Grabovoi community. Globally, people are asking to connect. In Australia, it will be on the 5th. So in Australia, it's 12:45. So we're hooking into this connection that everyone will be focused on restoring harmony and peace on planet Earth and to humanity. I'll send you out the information as a document. So if, for example, we weren't able to get to our computer, or there wasn't an internet or phone access, you would have the information in front of you. All you need to do in your time zone is to focus and concentrate, or as some people say, meditate. But the meditate expands you, where we're now wanting to, and what we've been doing here is focusing and concentrating on harmony to planet Earth and humanity. So seeing that in your mind's eye is really important. All the devices will still be on 24/7, even though you can't connect. I'm going to take this picture and send it to you, so that if you want to work with it, you have the image, but all you need to do is send a little light impulse to the small lens and to connect to it, and then start your concentration. It's only for 20 minutes that you need to, if you can't do the full 20 minutes, but during that time, the focus is harmony. Now, the heart maths people in the US, in California, have been working at heart coherence, measuring it. And when they have practiced it in the past, they've been able to have tangible measurements. Not only have they affected the Schumann resonance on planet Earth, so affecting the Hertz frequency of Earth, which is normally 7.83, but they actually were able to affect the information field, so that in some cities they recorded no crime rates or lowered crime rates. So that's how powerful when people come together. And even though they've tried to disconnect us physically from each other, what they can't disconnect currently from us is our connection to the information field. So they might physically disconnect us, they can't disconnect us as a collective, because what they're trying to do is stop you from realizing just how powerful you are. Because if we weren't this powerful, they wouldn't be going through all this to try to take it away from us, that's for sure. So that's happening this Saturday and Sunday, depending on which region you are. As I said, I'll forward all that information to you. You'll have it as a document. You'll have the picture, you'll have the time, or you can check the time prior. I suggest you do that today in case you can't get to your internet, and we'll all connect. I will run a live if we can be live. I will run a live on that day. I will have the device up live, but no, if we can't, then you still can do your part. So I hope that helps. Thank you very much for today. If anybody got any questions before we jumped out, we're way over time, so I apologize for all those it's getting a bit late for. Anybody? Yes, sorry, Aviva.
Could you put the instructions in that same replay also?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that. Absolutely. Anybody else got a question?
Thanks so much for today, Marion. Thank you.
Oh, pleasure, Eileen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Lots of love from my heart to you. Keep safe. Bye, Maggie.
Bye. I'm flicking it back.
Okay, see you. Thank
you, Mary.
Thank you so much, everyone.